Right, we are going to go ahead and explore how to use NearPod. So NearPod was just purchased yesterday officially by the Oshkosh Area School District, and it is a great way to bring engagement, like productivity workflow, like streamline it with your students. Also a great way for you to keep them engaged and collect data on work that they're actually completing. And so I wanted to show you, this is kind of an informal PD because I want to make sure I was getting to you as fast as possible. But I want to show you how to use NearPod within Google Slides, how you can create, kind of show you where it is so you can begin exploring, and also how you can launch the lessons with your students. So NearPod is an add-on on Google Slides. And so if you have been building within Google Slides, you kind of already know most of the tool. So what you're going to do is you want to make sure you add NearPod first to your add-ons. So you're going to go to your add-ons. You're going to click Get Add-ons. And then you are going to click NearPod. And you're going to go ahead and click the Install button, and it will be added onto your Google Slides. After you add it on, you're going to go ahead and hit Add-ons, NearPod, and Open. If you do not see Open NearPod, go ahead and refresh your entire slide deck to make it sync, and then you will see it. The first time you log in, it's going to ask if you want to give permission, and you say yes, and then you're going to log in with, it's going to ask you to select your Google login, you're going to select your OASD login, and it will log you in so you can begin building. So you're going to use this building feature probably the most because it is the easiest. So these are all different interactive add-ons you can add to your Google Slides. Some of them are new, some of them you may be familiar with, such as FlipGrid. And I'm going to show you what some of them do. I'll show you some of my favorite ones and kind of get you started on how you might use it in your classroom. So I'm actually using this to create a third grade social studies lesson right now. And the students are learning about the boundaries and waterways of Wisconsin. And so I thought we would go ahead and I'm just going to show you how I use NearPod, how I integrate some of these tools, different things you may want to add on to your lessons. So my second slide, I usually for accessing, I always use not always, but I like to use the collaborative board, which is very similar to a Padlet. Only the nice thing is when you launch this with your students, you don't have to send them to Padlet. You don't have to send them to another site. They just respond within your lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and select the collaborative board feature. And it's going to load. And my question for today is going to be, how did Wisconsin So yesterday's lesson, they learned about how the state of Wisconsin got its interesting form. Learned about like kind of what decided where Wisconsin was going to be in the shape of it. And so I can choose a variety of styles. So you have like your cork board, and the students, when they submit, they can submit pictures, they can submit text. They can like each other. So if there's like a response that students really agree with, they can like it, and it will show that there's like a lot of people have related to that. You can also add an image if you want to. So I'll just look for Wisconsin and see if there's one that pops up. And the nice thing about these NearPod images is they are, you don't have to worry about violating copyright. So these ones are free for use. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save it. And you're going to see it's going to make a new slide for me. And on that slide is my collaborative board. Okay, You don't want to delete this. You want to keep it. You can move it where you want it. So maybe if I wanted it to come after the math activity, I could move it. But if I want to edit it, I'm actually going to click the edit slide right here. I'm not going to click on here to edit. I'm actually going to click on this part. So if I decide I want to change my question, I can hit edit slide and edit it that way. All right. The next activity that I'm going to do is I always try to do some sort of vocabulary activity to bring in social studies. So I really like the matching pairs for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do a matching pairs activity. And I'm going to have match the vocabulary word to the definition. Today we are learning about Wisconsin waterways. Let's see. Add a pair. So I can add river. You could search for an image. You could have the word definition. Excuse me. All right, I can add another pair. Oops. I meant to do. It's actually my next word. So we're going to do that one. And actually, I'm going to change this so it says. All right, so you kind of get the idea of how you can add a variety. So let's just do one more. Let's do, since we're going to talk about different lakes. All right. I want there we go. Oh, that's good. All right, so after I have the ones that I want, I can go ahead and hit done. And if I wanted to add more, I could. I can also preview it. All right, so the kids can, do a matching activity that way. Okay, and it's gonna give me the feedback for this. So I would probably bring in some more of those, like they're gonna be learning the different state boundaries. They may be learning the capital of Madison. So have these here with images so that they can learn those new terms. And then after I've added the ones that I want, you can also add a timer. I don't like to use the timer just because my philosophy doesn't really believe in it. But if you want to have a timer, go for it. Like if you feel like your kids aren't moving or aren't progressing through your lessons fast enough and you really want them to, incorporate some sort of gamification element to it, you can go ahead and do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And it's going to add. So here's my matching pairs of their new words. Okay. The next activity that I'm going to have them do is actually a website exploration, but I want to introduce it first. So I'm going to actually copy my first slide, put it down here, and you're going to see when it makes those activities, it makes it as a brand new slide for you. So you don't have to worry about creating the slide for that at all. So we're going to call this new information. And then I'm going to give them the information here for them to read. I could also incorporate audio if I wanted to, so I could add my directions with audio. But for this one, I'm going to just add it as a text. So on the next website, explore the map of Wisconsin. Sure to notice the waterways as rivers and lakes for major cities. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I actually want to send them to a different website. And instead of having to have a link or a URL, someplace for them to get lost, I can actually send them to a website. So this is the website I want to send them to. I want to send them to this map. I'm going to go ahead and click on the URL and copy it, go back to my lesson, and all the way down at the bottom, the very last element is web content. I can paste the URL here, save it. All right, and you're going to see the web content. Well, we'll give it a second. One of the reasons I was kind of stopping here is I was trying to think of a different way to get my students engaged, and I remembered that NearPod has these really cool 360 images. They are VR field trips, and I was just wondering, and I haven't looked at this ahead of time, but I'm wondering if they have a river 360 picture. So I'm gonna look and see. Yeah. Interesting. So since we're looking at like the water, like the boundaries, I actually am gonna send them to, I want them to kind of explore what these areas look like before, to kind of like grasp their attention a bit and make them like think like this is a really like interesting location. So I'm gonna pull in, let's see here, and they have like thousands and thousands of pictures for you to choose from. So you can kind of go in and, all right, let's see. Let's do, I apologize for how long this is taking. I kind of thought about it on the spot here. But so maybe I want to send them to this one. I want to preview it first to make sure it's okay. But so I can add a 360 image, and I'm actually going to have this ahead of time with, I like to have the text that explains to them what they're going to be doing. Now, if we were in the classroom, I wouldn't need to do this, but since we're doing this virtual, I'm going to add the slide. So here's the 360 images to explore different Wisconsin border boundaries. Okay, so I have like here, we're gonna have a 360 field trip. Maybe I would do another one where it's like Michigan. The kids really like these virtual field trips. Like, it's a great way to get them out of the classroom without having to leave it. So I'll do one of like Michigan too. There's a lot of really cool, they have like the library of field trips they have to offer for students is unbelievable. So I'm going to bring this one in, even though I know it looks like it has Chicago there. But at least they're going to get to kind of see what the lake looks like. Let's go ahead and bring that in. And maybe because we are virtual and I would want to make sure I'm capturing what my students know, I might add an additional collaborative board of just what did you notice? Just to kind of see if they really were, what they were noticing when they were looking at those VR field trips. Now, if they were in the classroom, I probably wouldn't have a collaborative board. I would just talk about it as a class because they would all be experiencing it together. All right, so now we are going to continue editing our NearPod slide deck. So after the collaborative board, I have them learning the new information. I'm sending them to this website that I already shared how to edit as web content. And after they explore that website and the map of Wisconsin, I want them to show me their map skills. So I've gone ahead and I've actually created this within Google Slides. It is just a picture, text boxes, but I want my students to be able to actually complete the 5 steps here on this map so that I can assess really their understanding and know where they're at. So one of the really cool things is anything you add onto just a blank slide, you can convert to a NearPod Draw It activity where your students can actually interact with the information. So after I have edited everything I want, I'm going to go ahead and hit Convert to Draw It. And on my other screen, you're seeing it's going to ask me to confirm my account again. For some reason that happens with the Draw It. I'm not sure 100% why that is. But I just go ahead and hit accept. And it doesn't always happen every time, but if it would pop up, that is why. And then it's going to go ahead and convert it to a Draw It slide for you. Okay, so you're going to see right here, Draw It slide. That is the image that I want them to draw on. Now, just from personal experience, I keep the slide until I'm finished with my lesson. So that if all of a sudden I realize, oh shoot, I want them to also, indicate where this mountain range is or whatever, I don't have to recreate this and reprocess it. I just would have to edit it and then convert it again. All right, so once I know that I for sure this is everything I want, then I'll go ahead and hit delete. Okay. After the map skills, I actually want them to, the last part is to check for their understanding. So I can do a few things. I can do a open-ended question, which a lot of lessons, that's a really good ending, especially because you can actually, if you do an open-ended question, you can capture their voice. So you can type in your question here. So what did you learn about the Wisconsin state boundaries and waterways? Okay. I can actually add a recording of myself reading that question. So I can do an audio recording and I can say, what did you learn about the Wisconsin state boundaries and waterways? So that my students can listen to my voice. I can also enable student recording. So I would love this feature. Instead of my students having to type their response, if they feel more comfortable recording audio of themselves, they can do that. And you're going to, by giving your students choice, you're going to get more understanding from both of them. All right. And we're going to go ahead and save that. And you're going to see it's going to give you an open-ended question. You can also bring in a FlipGrid. And so actually, because I'm doing this FlipGrid, the social studies group in particular has been doing a lot with FlipGrid. I'm going to show you how I would add a FlipGrid real quick. And it's nice because if you add a FlipGrid, it doesn't take them to an extra site. They do it within their NearPod. So I'm going to add a new topic here. And it's going to be called State of Wisconsin Boundaries. All right, so use your hand to show as a map and explain the waterway boundaries of the state of Wisconsin. Okay, and later on I'm going to actually add a video for this because I want to show them my actual, like, what I want them to do. But until then, I'm going to show you how to add this to my NearPod. So I have the open-ended question, and I also want to add a FlipGrid at the end because I feel like my students are super engaged with FlipGrid. Now, keep in mind, this lesson, I have added a ton of NearPod add-ons. You do not need to do that. They recommend 5 is a good number. I obviously, because I'm demoing this for you, have added a lot. So if I want to add a FlipGrid, it's going to ask me for my topic URL and my join link URL. So I'm going to show you where to find those. So this is my topic URL. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my slide deck, topic URL, paste it there. All right. And then I'm also going to copy this. This is my join link. Paste it here. All right, and then I'm going to add it. Hopefully it will work. If it doesn't work, you get an error message. But it looks like it worked. Perfect. And because I haven't moderated and I haven't sent this out to students, there are no responses there. Okay. So this is my NearPod. I'm ready to share it with my students. That is going to be in the next video. So this is the building it video, and I will show you now how it will look through your student's lens in the next video. All right, so now I'm ready to launch my NearPod with my students, and so I'm going to show you how to easily do this. So we've done most of our building within Google Slides. Now we need to actually send it to NearPod. And so at the bottom of your add-on, you're going to see where it says save and go to NearPod. And if it is your first time using NearPod, it may ask you to log in with your Oshkosh Area School District account, and it's going to go ahead and load. Okay, and you're going to see it's right here for me. As you make more and more NearPod lessons, they do have the option to organize with folders. Probably would recommend it. I mean, I haven't been using it very long, and I definitely could use it. Okay, so here's my, and you see it brings over the title. So like I probably should have changed this to Land and Water, 3rd grade, etc. But I'll worry about that later. So once it's converted to NearPod, you can launch it one of 2 ways. You can do a live paste, which means all of your students are with you. And as you transition the slide deck, their screens transition with you. So it's run by the pace of the teacher. This is going to be great for your students you have in class with you. I've seen teachers do it via Google Meet Live. My only reluctancy with that is the bandwidth of students may not be strong enough to keep up with it and do Google Meet at the same time. So live is great for your students who are in person. Self-paced or student-paced is if you want the students to go at their own pace. And there's definitely benefit for that in the classroom too. Or, students who are at home maybe. If you wanted to have one lesson and you want to run it live and student-paced, just make a copy of that slide deck. Just make a copy and have like live in front of it or student paced in front of it and send it to NearPod the same way we just did. And you'll have 2 separate ones that you could have, one for live for your in-person students and one for self-paced for your at-home students. So you can differentiate that way. So to student paste it, which is probably what you're going to start with, you're going to go ahead and hit student paste. It's going to go ahead and load. And now you can do one of two things. You can either send them this link, post it in Google Classroom, or they actually have a post in Google Classroom button that you can click, and it's going to take you through the process similar to things like Screencastify, etc. And it will be there for your students, okay? To see their progress, and you may want to turn on require students to have a response. That's a really good thing to turn on so that they can't skip things. It's going to say that this will be live until Saturday, January 16th, remaining days. You can click on that if you want to change the date. So if you only want them to have like a week or two or a few days to do it, like you indicate what you want. So maybe you want to give them a week to do it, apply it. There you go. Okay. Copy that link or use Google Classroom to embed it. You can view your students' progress two ways. All right. So let's say you launch this in your Google Classroom. Next day, you want to come in and check, see how your students are doing. All right, you're going to come to your lesson, you're going to hit student paste, and you can click on it, and you can click view progress. Okay, I'm going to show you with one that I've had students do so you can see what it will look like. So this is one that I had students do. Maybe it doesn't give me that option anymore because it's not live. All right, forget that. So if you click on, this is the one I just launched. If you click view progress, it's not going to show me anything because I don't have any students who are doing it right now. But if I did have students who are doing it right now, you would be able to see on the side how many students you have participating. Obviously, my students are waiting to log in. But I can go to each of the activities. So if my students are doing this live right now, I could actually go to the collaborative board and see their responses. Now, would you like to approve your students before you comment? Like that, they're going to ask you that the first time. If you feel like you need to, you hit yes. Another way you can see your students' results, I'm going to end this session. And this is the way I actually prefer to see it, is to go through your reports. So on your side here where you have your library, you can hit reports. And as soon as it loads, it's going to show you all of the lessons you've ever launched. So for example, if I go down to the one here where I actually did have students complete it, I can click on the 11 students and I can see here are the students who completed it. I can click on the open-ended question and see their results. I can also listen to their results if they did audio, which this was huge. I had students who I hadn't seen since we went virtual, and they gave me a result. They gave me a response because I gave them audio as an option. I can look at my collaborative boards. There's an editable one that if I wanted to make comments on, I could. So there's that. So it's a great way to collect that feedback from your students. If you use sorry, I have a bunch of these open right now. Like if you did the matching, it would tell you how many attempts the kids took to successfully match. You can also add on a video. So one of the components I didn't show, but you can add a video and have different stopping points, and the kids could answer questions at the stopping points, and it's going to show you those results. There's just so much. So if you have questions, please reach out. I'm going to include a lot of PD that NearPod has created because, like I said, there is so much and it is so powerful. But please reach out. I encourage you to start just playing around in Google Slides and getting started with it, because it's going to bring so much power to your lessons and give you so much engagement with your students, and B, you're going to get the instant feedback or those instant data to see if your students are really understanding the content you are teaching. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy exploring NearPod, and reach out if you want to set up some individual coaching time.